Thanks for checking out the Brad and John Show podcast. This segment of the show is brought to you by John Combest's book, Stalking, Harassment, Internet Trolling, A Guide to Recovering and Rebuilding After Online Attacks. It's a great reference if you've ever been the unfortunate target of a social media attack. It's available on Amazon. Just search John Combest. That's C-O-M-B-E-S-T, John Combest, and the book will show up in your search results. Now it's time for another segment of the Brad and John Show. Can you handle it?
It's me, Eggburt, once again. I'm the new owner of this station. I went out and hired the best talk radio consultant, Jeff Allen from News Talk STL, and told him to hire the worst talent he could find. Jeff did exactly as I told him. Ladies and gentlemen, here are Brad and John.
Boy, he always flatters us with that, doesn't he, John? The worst we could find.
We know who we are, Brad. We don't need flattery.
Right. Okay. Quickly, the Brian Nieves story. He's on Facebook yesterday complaining about the fact, and he's no longer doing radio. He's traveling. He's doing his speaker things. And he's complaining about the fact that everywhere he goes, people have their dogs with them. On planes, they're here, they're here, they're okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I'm the same way. And once again, I've been in restaurants where people walk their dogs in and their dog sits down next to them. And I'm going like, okay, I believe there's a law against that unless it's a service animal. And these are not, obviously not service animals because they're cockapoos or all sorts of weird stuff like that, okay? One of my pet peeves was I would go in the Washington, Missouri Lowe's store, and I used to go there quite a bit. And it happened to me probably on 2 or 3 different occasions where I'm in an aisle all by myself, and all of a sudden I look down the aisle, and here comes a dog running at me. I mean, not on a leash, a big dog. One was like a German Shepherd, and I'm going like, okay, this is not good. I'm standing here. I have a dog who's charging me. And a couple of seconds later, the owner, oh, hey, man, he's not going to hurt you. He's my buddy. He wouldn't ever take a bite out of your shin. And so Brian's complaining about this on Facebook is that he's on planes, people are bringing their dogs, and they're doing this, and they're doing that. And I'm with him. You know, once again, if you love your dog, that's fine. But you know what? I don't love your dog. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I don't love your dog. Brad. Leave your dog at home. You know? I mean, and once again, people go, well, he's part of the family. Well, do you have old Aunt Bessie who is 95 years old? You drag her into Walmart, you know, to drag her around on a leash? No.
Exactly.
I mean,
yeah, I'm with you on that. I can't believe that you would be able to go to a store and have them just – and, you know, you see union officials complaining about, for example, Brad, the WashU food fight has been resolved, and I have a link to it up on my website today. And the head of the union, who is universally considered a good guy, a guy named Dave Cook, was talking about, you know, he had to take the complaints about the food fight seriously and whatever. And, well, we don't want our workers to feel a certain way when they're at work. What about the workers that are working at a store where people bring their damn dogs in and go running around?
Well,
like, why isn't the union complaining about that?
Hey, I've told the story a couple times, and it still bothers me. And it was a horrendous thing. Some dude down in South County got mad at his dog and beat the dog to death with a hammer in the front yard of his house. And the dog lovers went crazy. Okay, now, honestly, I think that was a horrible situation. But once again, it's a dog. These people picketed this guy's house. Remember this story? This was like, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 years ago.
I do remember, and you've talked about it before.
And they picketed the guy's house, and they called him a terrible person, and they were mad because he wasn't being thrown in jail. But yet, you read these stories all the time about some less than human dude who shakes his baby to death or scalds his baby in the bathtub or, hits his baby in the head and kills it. And yet nobody protests that guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nobody shows up at his house. And, obviously he gets thrown in jail. But, I'm going like, okay, let's go back to Maslow's theory of hierarchy. I would say that dogs are way down on the pyramid and human life is way up on the human pyramid. And once again, aren't we always obsessed with the abortion situation?
Yeah, I was just going to say, Brad, I was just going to make that analogy.
Once again, I know this is a sticky wicket, and I have sort of, 2 different theories on this, but once again, if it's a baby outside the womb, isn't it a baby inside the womb? You know what I mean? One of those kind of things. Now, let me give you my goofy story about the dog, okay? Our transmitter site for crap is down there on Highway 47. And about a mile north of the Missouri River, right across from the Washington airport. This is probably 2 or 3 years ago. One night, I start getting phone calls, and I start getting texts, and I'm going, what is going on? There's a dog that took up residence at our transmitter site.
Ooh.
And people are texting me saying, oh my God, this dog's in terrible shape. It's sick. Why aren't you doing anything about this dog? And I'm going like,
yeah, Brad.
I didn't even know there's a dog there. So you would have thought that somebody is having cardiac arrest and they're calling me for not going over and trying to do CPR on the person. And not only that, over the course of like 48 hours, people showed up at my transmitter site. They put bowls of water there. They put bowls of dog food. And finally, some guy contacted me. He says, I want permission to come on your property. I'm going to trap that dog, and we're going to put it in a foster home. I go, dude, knock yourself out. Do what you got to do. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, those of us who live in the area, and I will say this area around Mid-Rivers Mall Drive and Central School Road, there's a Home Depot there. One side of Mid-Rivers is Cottleville. The other side of Mid-Rivers is St. Peter's. There is a homeless woman who has been in that area for years. When I say this, everybody knows about it. My kids all know about it. I haven't seen her in a while, but yet nobody ever talks to her. Nobody ever tries to approach her. Nobody ever tries to do anything. She's always by herself. She's got a little suitcase she carries around with her, and supposedly she sleeps in a little cemetery down the street from off of Central School Road near Kisker and stuff like that. Okay, why aren't people concerned about a human being, but they're concerned about a dog? Get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand, Brad. I don't know the answer to that question.
Okay, off that. Dave Ramsey. I always find this interesting because I throw this at my teacher friends who always talk about, we don't get paid that much, and we work so hard. We work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and it's such a tough job, and we get paid like pittance, okay? I will go on the Dave Ramsey website, and Dave Ramsey did this exhaustive research project on who the top 5 categories of millionaires are. And number 3, here, hold on a minute here. I'm fun. Here, you ready for this?
I'm ready.
In third place,
teachers. Teachers are the 3rd largest category of millionaires in the United States, right? We now have a teacher who is an instant millionaire in Wentzville.
Very good for her, right?
Right.
Now, for folks who don't know what we're talking about, you want to catch them up?
Once again, I will give the angle on this is that I know her, I met her, I found her to be a very nice person. I was very impressed. I did a podcast with her, I don't know, a year or so ago, like with John Schneider and John Ledoux. At that point in time, they were with the Wentzville Fire Department. They invited, her name is Danielle Tormala?
Tormala, yeah.
Tormala. And she came in, and at that time, she was the superintendent. She's just been there a little bit over a year. I was very impressed by her. Well, apparently the citizens of the Wentzville School District were not impressed by her, and they sort of chased her out. And it was announced yesterday that they are paying off her contract, and she's getting, $500,000 in the next couple of weeks, and then she's getting another $500,000 in June. And here's my complaint. Was it $42,000 for unused sick leave? Did you read that?
Yeah, almost $43,000. Yeah.
I'm thinking to myself, okay, in the corporate world, use it or lose it, right?
Yeah, that's what most companies have. Use it or lose it. You're right.
Use it or lose it. And the thing that bothers me about this is, if this were a corporation that wants to give unpaid sick leave, knock yourself out.
Yep.
This is the taxpayers of Wentzville, the Wentzville School District, paying for her sick leave. Okay, she's already getting $1 million, and they're going to pay her, $42,900 in unpaid sick leave. I'm thinking to myself, okay, she's not that old. Didn't she say she was, 47?
Yeah, I think she's 47.
Okay, how do you get $43,000 worth of sick leave? Let's say she's worked there for 20 years. Let's say she started, when she was 27, okay? How do you get $43,000 in unpaid sick leave in 20 years?
The joy of compounding, Brad. The wonder of interest. Let's talk to Dave Ramsey about it. Here's the thing, though, Brad. We talked. What was it? It was just 2 days ago. Today's Thursday. We talked on Tuesday, and you and I discussed this. And I said, no tears for Danielle Tormala. I will not weep for her, that she will be fine, Brad. And look at this. And by the way, not only is she getting $1 million, but as I pointed out before, she will go to a progressive school district that loves that she stood tall against those angry right-wingers, and she'll be handsomely rewarded. Don't weep for Danielle Tormala. She's going to be just fine, Brad.
Okay, I'm looking up here. I want to make sure that I give this correct. Here, this is the study that, as a matter of fact, is a very in-depth study. It's called the National Study of Millionaires by Dave Ramsey, the Ramsey Solutions, whatever he calls. Okay, some of the bullet points. 8 out of 10 millionaires invested in their company's 401k. 3 or 4 millionaires said regular, consistent investing over a long period of time leads to success. Millionaires are made, not born. Millionaires don't always make big bucks. The top 5 careers. Here's right. The top, and I was correct. Number 1 career, engineer. Number 2 is accountant, CPA. Number 3 is teacher. Number 4 is management. And number 5, attorney. Okay, teachers rank number 3 above attorneys. So the next time you hear a teacher go, "Oh, we don't make any money. We're slaving, on the schools, and it's so hot, and the kids are so stinky." And I mean, go like, okay. You're a GD millionaire. Okay, don't give me this crap about you don't have any money. You're a millionaire.
Well, now also, Brad, just to play devil's advocate here, that suggests that even though a lot of them are millionaires, I wonder how many young teachers are good with their money and actually save their money. So that's not an argument against what you're saying, Brad. I'm just saying that there's probably a generational thing where I can't imagine that teachers that are 27 years old are stuffing away money like the older generation did. And by the way, brief aside, to follow some of this Wentzville stuff, Bob Onder, and you can follow him on Twitter, Bob Onder, M-O, tweeted just last night about the Danielle Tormala thing and quoted the Post-Dispatch story here.
Okay, here, let me take it one step further. Okay, I'm reading this right now. Millionaires go to college, but not to elite schools. 62% of the teachers graduated from public universities are state schools. And matter of fact, the National Study of Millionaires showed that it's the degree itself that matters, not where the degree comes from. Perception versus reality. Overall, the National Study of Millionaires showed a dramatic difference between how Americans think wealthy people get their money and how they actually earn and spend their money. The majority of the millionaires in the study said they earn their money through long-term investing. When it comes to spending, millionaires use a common tool for saving money, a shopping list. According to responses, 85% of participants in the National Study of Millionaires rely on a grocery list to some degree. Do you have a grocery list, John?
Do you mean do I make a list when I go to the grocery store?
Yeah, do you?
Yeah, what kind of a troglodyte just walks into a store and buys stuff?
Hey, you're talking to Brad Troglodyte right here.
You don't use so you say that after you're done with the show and you chop it up, you said that you go to Schnucks. Do you just walk in there and say, right now I'm going to get a sandwich, I'm going to get a drink? Yeah,
I have no list.
Wow. I don't think I've ever walked into a store without having a list either on a piece of paper or if there's exceptions where you run it. Yesterday I made one store run, Brad, to Schnucks for avocados. I eat an avocado a day and I was running dangerously low. So I just ran in and grabbed avocados. But other than that, I definitely work from a list. And by the way, that's a lesson for kids. Not on the list, you're not buying it.
For those of you listening, you've just heard an interesting little subtext of John. Yes, he buys avocados, and yes, he takes the avocados and puts them on the toast that he toasts in his toaster. Yes, he does eat avocado toast. Right?
I do. Now, I don't pay, $10 for it at a restaurant. Obviously not. But, Brad, you think I'm not going to get my healthy fats in a day? You think I'm not going to eat an avocado a day? Get out of here.
God. You don't, and John, you don't think I'm not going to eat a Little Debbie's a day? Come on. See, this is where John and I are polar opposite.
We are, and Brad, as I pointed out before, I love to bury my face in some white cake.
this is the difference between John and me because of the fact that John's a millionaire. I'm a struggling radio guy. Everybody thinks I have money. I'm broke. I'm going to say that right up front. The people that have money in this industry are the Tracy Ellises of the world.
Hey, wait, hold on. By the way, that's reference number 6. Brad, I'm like 100-aire. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like 100-aire. It depends on how many nickels I have in the couch cushions,
well,
Brad.
Okay, I know we sound like we're all over the map. Okay, so let's go back a minute and do the Danielle Tormala, whatever thing is. Why did they give her $1 million? I mean, was that her contract? Were they paying her off?
They're paying off the end of her contract. It's like if she was signed to a baseball team, like the team it's kind of like the Bobby Bonilla deal. You're familiar with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Wentzville signed a long-term contract with her, and then if she doesn't perform, they got to buy her out. You know what I mean? What a great few years it's going to be for Danielle Tormala.
For those of you who do not know, John and I have these common weird things that stick in our brains. Tell the Bobby Bonilla story, which is sort of interesting.
He signed a deal with the Mets, and it's one of my favorite memes of all time, and I use it. I abuse it, actually, how frequently I use it. He signed a long-term contract with the Mets that guarantees that he would get a little more than $1 million a year for 25 years. So until 2030, it's in the 2030s. Until sometime in the 2030s, he's going to get more than $1 million a year. And there's a great check. Or there's a great meme of Mr. Met, who's the Mets mascot, standing on top of the dugout, and he's got a giant fake check, and it's written out to Bobby Bonilla, and it says $11 billion. Now, it's just the funniest thing to me.
The interesting part of that story is, when's the last time Bobby played baseball? Hasn't it been like 10 years ago or something like that?
No, probably 15 or 20. I mean, he retired in eternity. I should look that up, actually, the last time that he played.
At the time, everybody made fun of him because he'd go like, you taking $1 million a year for 25 years? And he's going like, yeah, I'm the smartest guy around. Now, because everybody's like, it's like the thing that always bothers me about the lottery. Hey, the Powerball's up to $1.4 billion. Well, once again, if you and I were to run an ad saying like, hey, come in today and buy a new car for only $32.95, we would get challenged by every consumer protection agency in the whole bit because we violated. You know what that violates? And you're going to laugh when I tell you this because I know this.
No, I don't know.
Regulation Z, or it's either X or Z, of the Fair Trade Commission.
Ooh.
And the reason I know that is it's a crazy, weird story which involves a Christian radio station, which don't go because it's a bizarre, weird story, is that regulation, I believe it's Regulation Z, is the reason when you see an ad in the newspaper or you see an ad on TV where they mention a car, special car, only $99 a month, they have to list the entire financial terms. How long the lease is for, or how long the payments are, what the APR is, what's the total value, that kind of stuff. And that is the regulation that you have to, prescribe to. But yet, once again, does the lottery come on and say, well, we're not really giving away $1.4 billion. If you take a lump sum payment, you're only getting $350 million because we're keeping the rest because...
Yeah, of
and
course
I'm going,
not.
Okay.
And by the way, we're over time, but Bobby Bonilla's last season, 2001, Brad.
Holy
John
cow.
Combest was just starting johncombest.com the last time Bobby Bonilla played a baseball game.
So 2001, he said 25 years, so he's coming up on the end of it though, right? If you said,
no, they decided to defer it from 25 years from 2011 to 2035. He retired at the end of the 2001 season. So he deferred it even after his playing days.
Wow. So he didn't get any money till 2011?
Yeah, I guess I'm looking it up. And I know we're over time here, but yeah, so it was a unique thing where he deferred it for years. Yeah. Maybe he had enough money to last him until 2011 until it started.
You know what I think he should do?
What should he do, Brad?
Go back to school and become a teacher.
Hey, or an administrator. It works for Danielle.
And you know what? Here, you know how we're going to sign off today?
I want to hear it.
A tribute to one of my favorite organizations. You ready?
I'm ready.
We are National Public Radio, NPR, where the news is what we say is the news.
John, have a
Bye,
real good
Brad.
day.
See you tomorrow.
We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for checking out the Brad and John Show podcast. This segment of the show is brought to you by John Combest's book, Stalking, Harassment, Internet Trolling, A Guide to Recovering and Rebuilding After Online Attacks. It's a great reference if you've ever been the unfortunate target of a social media attack. It's available on Amazon. Just search John Combest. That's Combest, John Combest, and the book will show up in your search results. Now it's time for another segment of the Brad and John Show. Can you handle it?